Hellcard. Hellcard is an excellent deck building card game with a unique spin on the roguelike genre, especially relating the combat and cooperation. This game is a must-have for players who love deck building card games and cooperation. The decisions that you make are crunchy and there is a lot of brain burning towards the end game as you frequently try to kill dozens of enemies to survive. I will note that I have only focused play on the mage in the demon book, so I can't speak too much to the other classes and future books, but the mage has an intriguing but delicate balance to play. You are always tossing up choices between what you need over what you want, i.e. crowd control and utility are really powerful strategic choices, but sometimes you want to pull off some huge damage with Armageddon or Maelstrom or invest into future rounds with green exhaust cards. The game has other interesting roguelike elements, such as deciding what cards to add to your deck, what artifacts you will choose to gain the best boons for your build, that enemies you will fight versus the rewards you will get, and whether you should gamble that last game with the hopes of get more. Oh, and do something boring like heal. The few criticisms I have for this game mainly come down to the UI. The major issue I have is that there isn't a log of the actions that occur during the turn. This can make it a little tricky to figure certain things out, like why your character reacts in a certain way or remember what you just did. Fortunately, you can see what cards have been played and what cards are in your draw. So the second issue with the UI is the amount of enemies on the screen, making it extremely taxing to work out what enemies will be hit by an AoE and what the effects of the AoE will be. Specifically, it's difficult to understand which enemies will die, which enemies will get crowd controlled, how much damage on your character will be prevented, etc. I think a little drop down with a summary of general information would be awesome, but not only to improve play, but I think for general accessibility. Another issue I had was I never really knew how to properly prevent a card from being played. I hit escape, which did work, but it also brings up the menu. It feels a little dodgy to say the least. I'm sure there is a better way to do it, but in really tense situation I felt more comfortable to just hit escape and ensure my action was cancelled, as missile plays can cost you a run. The last small issue is when deciding which floor to follow. It's not 100% clear what you are actually fighting versus what you are getting as a reward. This becomes clear when you have played a few rounds, but I think it would be nice if this had a summary with more information, as players can always just check a wiki anyway. I am genuinely excited to see this game get more content with more characters, enemies, bosses, cards, artifacts, etc., as well as more books to unlock. I'd like to also see a little bit of focus on the floor system, perhaps taking inspiration from FTL to make those decisions a little more crunchy and interesting. The art style and voice acting are surprisingly polished. For an early access game, I found the pop-up storybook theme quite charming and would love to see what they manage with future books. Overall, this is one of the best in the game, easily destroying Slay the Spire and Monster Strain for me. I'm sure many will find that controversial, but those games did not hook me as much, perhaps because they lacked to the cooperative aspect. Other games that may be comparable include For the King, which I think is also quite a fun, crunchy game. I do feel the game feels a lot more unfair, as I feel like one bad running can ruin a run. In this, at least from my play so far, I felt like a lot of my failure I had read due to hustling or poor decision makers. Strong recommendation for those who like games similar to Slay to Spire, Monster Train, For the King and Darkest Dungeon. Also, this game isn't anywhere as difficult.